Right, it's another one of these plain ones. I'm in British Airways today. Probably some people remember my British Airways cut up the Executive Club card video, which means I don't get an upgrade here. Here I am right in the back of the plane. Sometimes you have to use them though, if they're the right times of day and it's the right price, which is what I got here. Anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about the ridiculous use of language and the ridiculous way things are packaged. Maybe my friend Alan Heath, who runs Central and East European Packaging magazine, ceepackaging.com, might be interested as well in this this whole thing. Packaging's obviously about plastics and cardboards and things like that, but it's also one very interesting part of packaging is the use of language, and I find it fascinating as a linguist, the way language is, you know, manipulated and stretched and squashed to make these things. I mean, first of all, you can barely read that. Yeah? I'm going to have to read it out. I can barely read it, but I'll just try and make out what it says. This came on a piece of stodge, which I ate because I had nothing else this morning, which was entirely one of the most unappetizing things I've ever had on an aeroplane, even Alitalia. I could barely taste any filling in the middle. It was all some fluffy, stodgy bread in some helium pack, and which some of the fellow passengers were popping to make it open. So gas filled. I'll get onto the orange juice in a minute if it's still there by the time I get to it. So I'll read the label that came out. I've torn it off for future reference, but then I realised I could do the film right here and now. F370004 is the top left number, and 920334 is the top right number. Probably that's of significance to somebody, and somebody somewhere knows why you need two numbers, not just the one. So here's what it was. It was 3 cheese. Please note, not 3 cheeses. It was 3 cheese on an oat-topped square roll. So yeah, I mean it was rectangular, it wasn't square. Oat-topped should have a hyphen between it, and it wasn't on it, it was in it. The 3 cheeses. I could only count 2 cheeses, but they say it's 3. 60% bread, and their 60% must be different to what I consider to be 60%. Maybe that's 60% by value, I suppose, rather than 60% by volume or weight. Wheat flour, water, wheat bran, dextrose, vegetable oil and fat. Partly hydrogenated. It doesn't tell you what part. Why they're bothered in saying it, I don't know. Yeast, whey powder, dry milk components, salt, oat flakes, wheat gluten, sugar, soy flour, emulsifiers, E471/E472E/E482/E322, 20% cheddar. Now that made me laugh. Must be 20% by value, not volume. The thinnest slice I've ever seen. I couldn't even prise it off without breaking it. Milk lactic acid, salt and coagulant. So if you wanted to know what cheddar means, it means milk lactic acid, salt and coagulant. It does me thinking it was cheese. 20% 2 cheese mix. Ah, I see. That second cheese was supposed to be a 2 cheese mix. Soft cheese, brackets, this time square brackets because they're in other brackets. Milk, cream, salt, thickening agent, E410, lactic acid coagulant, and mimolette cheese. and this one's milk, salt, lactic acid, coagulant, preservative E251, colour E160BJ, and spices. Don't remember any spices. And then this product contains the following allergens: cow milk protein, lactose, that's in case you're lactose intolerant, which is the only type of intolerant that you're allowed to be these days. Although what people that don't have any toes have done to deserve it, I don't know. Soy and gluten. Yeah, you can be gluten intolerant as well. Weight, 90 grams. Then it says supplied for BA through, not by, but through www.supplier.com. So there you can go on there. If you want to have your own private plane stocked by tasteless food, then that's where to go. Also included, milk Jigger. Now, I never saw that name before. I think it's a very imaginative use of language, but a milk Jigger, for those of you that want to know, must be this. Now, coffee's coming down there, which sometime later than they brought the food. So obviously that milk Jigger with semi-skimmed milk in it, and a nice picture of a traditional bridge with a mountain in the background. I'm surprised it doesn't tell you where it is, and then say that put some caveat on that it might have changed since then. And then consume on day of supply. Consume is an interesting thing. Best by dates are an interesting thing with this. Let's get on to the milk Jigger. This is UB 180311. I don't know what UB means. And then it says here lift. In case you don't know, you may have thought you needed to press it for the milk to come out, or flick it, or press it up against your nose, or something like that. And so it's UHT, semi-skimmed milk. Other than that, there's not an awful lot I can say about it. Needless to say, there's always little artifacts on it. That says Winpack, and it's an 061. If anybody wants to know about it, it's an 061, so there you are. So that, whether that UB means the best before date, or whether it's, or used by maybe, 180311. I think I've cracked that code. Now this is the orange juice. It's not just orange juice, it's premium orange juice. I don't know if how well that's focusing. This is premium orange juice by Juice Works Limited. You can't, it says partially something concentrate, but you can't see what it's saying. But then afterwards it says it again, just like this repeats everything. It tells you the allergens for the benefit of the soft. Here it says ingredients: orange juice from concentrate, 95%. Freshly squeezed pasteurized orange juice, 5%. Again, I don't know if that's by volume or value. Juice Works Limited, Manchester, and M224RX. That's just so that you don't try and go there unless you're a postman. It doesn't give you the actual address. UK, telephone 0161 945 8887. Best before, seaside of cup, served chilled. I suppose it was reasonably cool when they gave it to us. So it promises you on the lid that the best before date will be on the side of the cup. When you look at the side of the cup, it says BBD Seaside Box. Huh? GA02980816. So it's telling you the time at 16 minutes past 8 of a certain date, but it won't tell you the date unless you look at the box, and the box with the number GA0298. So I'll have to ask the people, I'll say, I need to see, it says I have to see the side of the box that came in, can you please show me? And of course they won't be able to. So we're just set off on a wild goose chase. It's interesting to consider, aren't we, really, isn't it, really, that that if I did get the box, so let's say that they fished the box out somehow and gave it to me to look at, yeah, it probably would say, see the side of the container that it was shipped from China in. And then if I went to the container, it would probably tell me to, what was it, grass, mud grass horse or something, which is Chinese for something rather rude if you change the tones around. So there we are. The only other thing that was on there was an indecipherable label with 3122010 written on it. Doesn't tell me much. And then the other things that come in here, this is a waste bag, and it's difficult to read this because there's something else underneath it. But it says, this cutlery pack contains a waste bag. Please put the waste from the service in the bag and hang it on the hook on the seat in front of you. The cabin crew will collect it at the end of the service. Now, I didn't really realise that I was in a church here, that they were having a service. If I had known, I would have attempted to come more full of the Holy Spirit than I feel I am today. But there we are. I'm in the middle of a service. It's been sprung on me, but you know, oh, there's another plane passing. It's always interesting, isn't it? Vaguely. More interesting than just about anything else that goes on here. I suppose the clouds down there might be an interesting thing to look at. Anyway, so there you are. It tells you what you've got to do with it. You've got to take that. It gives you something in a piece of plastic. There's another piece of plastic there that it all comes in. There's for a tiny amount of juice that wouldn't be classed as a glass of juice. They produce all that plastic and aluminium. Really what they should do is they should allow people to bring on their own ruddy plastic cup, and they should just pour people from a central dispenser, yeah, what they want out of a choice of 3 or 4 things, into the person's own plastic cup, or 2 plastic cups if they want a warm drink and a cold drink, and not worry about having all this ruddy, and let people bring on their own ruddy plastic fork and knife for use again and again, and not have all this ruddy shit that ends up in the ocean. And then they try and tax us for carbon, which is a natural thing and has a natural cycle. At the same time, they can't stop producing all these bits of clart. And then they produce extra bits of clart to tell you to put the other bits of clart into it and hang it on the hook in the seat in front of you. So I've got to hang it there, yeah, next to this guy's head. I don't think I'm going to do that to him. So, and then keep away from children. May cause suffocation. So there we are. If I was travelling with a child, I'd have to spend the rest of the flight stopping the child from touching this piece of plastic. So there we are. Just a little bit of a whinge, because you have to. You can't be confronted with, you know, shit of the sort that if you made it up, people would say it's too contrived, and not comment it. Okay, I just got to the sugar. There's a tiny thing with sugar in it, and it says sugar. I don't know if you can see that. And it's got it in a number of different languages. Underneath, they've selected some languages from the world languages available. Yeah, not the biggest languages necessarily in the world, except for one is they've put it in Mandarin Chinese. But they've got two characters, neither of which I know, as I haven't learned them yet, but I will. They've got Arabic there with, it's probably sakar, probably short because they haven't added any vowels in. I don't know Arabic well enough to be sure of that pronunciation, but I think there's a load of different ones anyway. Zucker in German and sucre in French, so I don't have Spanish azúcar, and I don't have Russian sakhar, so there's some pretty big languages left out, but there's a space in the middle there, I don't know if you can see it, where you can add your own, the language of your choice if you feel that something's been left out. And so what I'll do is, I'll take a pen and actually add here in the space available sakhar there. So now I've got some Russian. So there you are. I've even used utilised the space available. I've done everything from this set of crap that I possibly can. This is supposed to be a cutlery set, by the way, as well. They call this a cutlery set. This plastic, I don't know what it is. It looks like something to help you thread a needle. That's supposed to be called a cutlery set. No doubt it's there to stir the coffee. Has a little hole in the middle of it, so that you don't stir it too vigorously, no doubt, because that would be terrible. So, just to finish off the thing, you get your coffee, but you also get, together with the coffee, more of their propaganda. We serve 100% Rainforest Alliance certified TM ground coffee. I don't know how many shibboleths and sibboleths, and then enjoy. And then this cup is made from sustainable sources. You know, it's all about, you know, this pseudo ecological correctness and political correctness and legal correctness, and it's all a barrage of propaganda. You can't have a ruddy cup of coffee in the English-speaking world. Once you get onto a BA plane, you're in the English-speaking world. You can't have a ruddy cup of coffee without somebody giving you the whole propaganda. It's like switching on the BBC World Service and hearing about, you know, female circumcision in some far-off place and how much better we are because we don't do it. And we're much holier than everybody else because we serve 100% Rainforest Alliance certified ground coffee, and that's all fantastic, yeah? The fact that all of this Rainforest Alliance is probably, well, more about backhanders than anything else. For example, you know, why did they need to even trademark it if it was really for good? You know, and we're supposed to believe all this, we're supposed to take it all on face value. Sorry, but I feel very dissident when I get a barrage of propaganda, people stick in their opinions about how coffee should be down my throat all the time. Yeah? When I gave people, you know, well, I still do give people the gospel that will save their souls. Believe in Jesus Christ for salvation. Because we're not going to live forever. We're not going to live forever, even if we have sustainable sources. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference. This planet is going to exist for as long as God wants it to safely, and when God has had enough, and this project of his comes to the close, he will close the whole thing down. You can be sure of it. And you can make your coffee from whatever alliances and sustainable sources you like. It's not going to make a minute's difference to the date of the end of the world. So what you need is Jesus Christ. You need to have a faith in Jesus Christ for salvation. Now when I say that to people, I'm pushing my ideas down their throat. Okay? It's pushing your religion down my throat. But what is this but people pushing their religion, their ecology religion, their New World Order, paganistic Gaia religion down my throat, literally, with the coffee. I'm getting their opinions forced on me, and their holier-than-thou shibboleths forced on me with every turn. If I talk about the one who was born in a manger and who died on a cross, and which is the one thing that people need, and not all of this rubbish, then no, you're forcing your opinions, you're not being tolerant. The world is upside down.